Hi, hey, hello. Why does Avatar Korra open the spirit portals and doom the world of Avatar into a fate of funny animals and overgrown spinach? Well, I have extensively researched the second season of Legend of Korra, and I have the answer. The why of it is because Korra believes that, while it is important to learn from the past, the people living in the present need to forge their own path. There you go, that's the answer. If that was all you're here for, there you go. Exits through the gift shop. Make sure to grab a snack on your way out. I will admit, this is a weird revelation for Korra to come to, so let's talk about how exactly she gets to this conclusion. First things first, though, I need to rewatch Korra just one more time to make sure I got everything right. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. First off, let me recap season 1 real quick in case you don't remember. Probably for context too. I dunno. Korra is introduced as the best ESD triple threat earth, fire, and water bender this side of the Mississippi. She can't find a good airbending teacher, so she invites herself to Aang's son's home in Republic City. Once there, she finds this group of Kai blockers called Equalists who want to hurt benders real bad. The chief Equalist is a masked man named Ammon who control Alt-Delete's bender powers. Korra fights Ammon, kisses a Marco, drives a car, solves a kidnapping, joins a sports team, fails a airbending, gets a forehead adjustment, learns a airbending, finds a secret brother, gets a spirit lesson, and regains a bending powers. Now we're all caught up for Season 2. Season 2 is kinder a lot of stuff going on, so I'm going to do my best to make it make as much sense as possible. There's a big lesson that this season of Korra teaches the audience, and if you didn't pay attention you might have missed it the first time round. Don't worry, I didn't miss it this time. All right, the season starts with Korra and her gang of misfits leaving Republic City for the Glacier Spirit Festival. The keen observers of the Avatar show of yesteryear will notice that the Southern Water Tribe is a little more, let's say, populous than it used to be, much to the dismay of this crusty old guy who shows up to cut off Korra and Marco's maximized carnival fun smooching time. This bag of expired holy water is Unalak, Tonrek's little brother and Korra's uncle. Unalak disgraces the Southern Water Tribe for abandoning the rituals of old in favor of something that's, fun. So, in true teenager fashion, Korra gets real mad at the adults of her life deciding what her training as an avatar will look like. Tenzin wants to take her to the Eastern Air Temple, and Tonrek wants Korra to not be trained by her creepy uncle. She asks Marco for advice, which leads to a fight, mostly because Marco has no idea what it takes to be an avatar and admits as much. Men can't catch a break, I swear. That night, some entities called Dark Spirits attack, and they completely body Team Avatar. It's embarrassing. Even the adult benders who are supposed to be competent get completely stumped by these heartless-looking fools. Anyway, Unalak shows up and holy water bends the dark spirits into a peaceful state, which makes them all gold and glowly. So Korra, after undoubtedly writing notes on what he did as fast as she could, rebukes Tenzin's and her father's offer for a vacation at the Eastern Air Temple and instead goes with Unalak to train with him in his creepy basement full of puzzles. The South Pole. Unalak pulls a hey, trust me bro on Korra by telling her that the dark spirits will be pacified if she opens the South Pole's spirit portal. And, once she does, he ensures peace will be maintained by launching a full-on occupation of the Southern Water Tribe with his army. Ooh, wait. That's probably not a good thing. While Korra is off causing an international incident, Tenzin takes a vacation to the Eastern Air Temple with his family. This is the place in the first show where Aang finds the bones of his former mentor surrounded by Fire Nation soldiers. BTW. Not sure who was forced to clean that up, but I personally would have just walled that whole section off. All sorts of malicious ghosts coming out of a room like that. During Tenzin's vacation, his daughter goes missing and he and his siblings go off to look for her. Turns out, Tenzin discovers that his father the Avatar wasn't as good of a dad as he thought. Aang took Tenzin all over the world on fun adventures because, of all of Aang's 3 kids, only Tenzin could airbend. His sister Karrier is a waterbender, and his oldest brother Bumi is a walking calamity of a man. Boom Eat is the most accurately named character in all of Meteor. I'm calling it now. Anyway, Kair and Boom tell Tenzin that they didn't go on Tenzin's childhood adventures that he took with Aang, the revelation of which actually sets Tenzin down an incredibly important path, which is the whole reason I'm even talking about it. Tenzin finds his middle child Ugee playing tea party with the most adorable sky bisons ever seen by human eyes. Seizing the opportunity to escape the relentless bullying of his siblings, same as her, Tenzin joins her for tea. Meanwhile, Korra tries her best to quell the completely deserved uprising of the Southern Water Tribe from the invading army from the north. Marco suggests that Korra confront Unalaq directly, who tells her that she shouldn't choose a side in this conflict because she is the Avatar. Also, she needs to do like 5 spirit push-ups because training starts next week. Also, don't worry about those soldiers stomping around your childhood home. Korra listens to Unalaq because he's one of those dudes who enunciates his point really well, so it sounds like he knows what he's saying. Korra catches wind of a kidnapping plot that she foils by stopping definitely not Tonrak the bagman making off with Unalaq. She creates an ice ramp to flip his snowmobile like a pancake and unmasks him to discover that he wasn't her father after all. It was old man Jenkins all along. Unalaq, level-headed chieftain he is, rounds up all of his would-be kidnappers and also his brother Tonrak and sister-in-law, and hires a judge to sentence them all to death. System working as intended, far as I've ever seen. Korra brazenly threatens to kill the judge if he kills her parents, and I gotta say what you will about Korra as a character, but nothing will make me hate her because of this scene right here. Such a baller move. Anyway, Unalaq pleads with the judge, who sentences her father to life in prison instead. Korra, judge killer she is not having it. She follows the judge after the trial and knocks his vehicle off the road and stuffs his head into Nagar's gaping maw to discover. Unalaq staged the whole thing. He wanted Tonrak gone so he could control Korra. Korra tells Marco and Balin about this biz and they bust Tonrak out of jail. Unfortunately, Unalaq heard him through his super-powered spirit hearing or something and moved Tonrak to a boat headed for the Northern Water Tribe. I'd imagine there's an ice block bent into the shape of a guillotine with his name on it. Korra, Marco, and Balin beat Unalaq back enough to grab the ship of local lunatic merchant man Varric, who I will get into more detail with later one, and they chase her father's boat. They save Tonrak and he tells Korra that she needs from Republic City to save the Southern Water Tribe from the invading army. Now that Team Avatar is back in Republic City, they all immediately split up. Korra asks the president to send troops to liberate her homeland. Yeah, he says no. Angry, Korra decides to help out with the Southern Water Tribe peaceful protest in the city. At that protest, several bombs go off at the cultural center. Marco, the non-detective beat cop that he is, chases after the perpetrators, discovers one of them is a firebender, and finds the detonator. Literally nobody in the entire world believes Marco when he tells them about this. By the way, because the people who set off the explosions were obviously Northern Water Tribe waterbenders. While this is happening, nobody remembers to have Balin tag along, so Varric takes Balin for a night on the town and discovers that he's a natural star at the pro-bending stadium. Varric is a scummy, fast-talking businessman with an eye for opportunity. This will be very important in a big twist in the 3rd act of the season, by the way, so mostly for context, everyone's favorite future Mrs. Avatar, Asami, is struggling to right the ship of her family business since her father was arrested for being an anti-bender terrorist in Season 1. Varric gives her the idea to send her war machines for the Southern rebels, and he also gives Korra the idea to approach General Ero directly, going around the president's desire to not do a colonialism. Unfortunately, Korra makes the stupid mistake to confide this plan to her boyfriend Marco, who immediately blabs to the president about it. Korra gets really mad at Marco for ruining the plan. She had to literally save her people from an invading army, and Marco can't be bothered to care about that because he's like super busy with this bombing case he's working on. You know, the bombing that happened during a peaceful protest where nobody was killed, compared to Korra's issue of her uncle invading her homeland and trapping everyone inside. Just want to make sure we all understand what's going on here. So naturally Korra and Marco break up. I would too. Korra, now completely out of options, thanks Marco, heads off to the Fire Nation to get some help from the Fire Lord at General Iroh's recommendation. While heading there, she is attacked by her creepy cousins, the female of whom has a brief and intense fling with Balin during the Spirit Festival. You know what would? They wreck Korra's boat, and the fight between them is interrupted when a giant dark spirit straight up eats Korra, monstro style. Whoops. Another dead avatar at sea. Man, their avatar should stop trying to cross oceans by themselves, huh? While Korra is being digested by Spirit Monstro, let's shift over to Marco and Bolin. Asami's weapon shipments keep getting intercepted by Unalak, so Marco and Asami set up a sting with a dummy boat and some locally grown gangsters to help catch whoever is doing it. They hook up and get back together because Marco is allergic to being single for longer than one of Bolin's movers. Anyway, they overhear that the entire sting is a distraction, and they get away to find Asami's war machine warehouse is completely cleaned out. Asami is ruined, and Marco decides that's a good time to go check on Bolin. I'm actually starting to hate this guy. Bolin has been hired by Varric to star in a new source of entertainment called Movers. It's exactly what you think it is. Bolin is given the starring role of a series of action flicks as Nuktak, hero of the South. Long story short, Varric is making propaganda to sway public opinion of Republic City to send aid to the Southern Water Tribe. While Marco is visiting Bolin on set, he discovers that Varric's pyrotechnics on set match the detonator he found at the bombing. Marco runs to tell this to Asami, and that Varric is likely the person who has been robbing her ships, and arrives just in time to witness Asami selling a controlling share of her business to Varric. Anyway, back to Korra. Since dark spirits found able to fully digest avatars, Korra washes up on where she is gathered up by fire sages and lowered into a pit of purifying water. See, Korra is infected with dark energies and needs to sort out her mental trauma before it consumes her. Girl, same. While she's half submerged in the Healy juice, Korra is confronted by the oldest and most first avatar. Wen tells her the story of how he became the first avatar. Wen's world is very different from Korra's. He lives on a city on the back of a lion turtle. The world at large is filled with spirits and is called the Spirit Wilds. The only way for humans to survive is to go out hunting wild animals with the gift that the lion turtle grants them. Wen is poor and has to steal from the rich Chu family to live. He needs a proper weapon to do this and gets an idea. He volunteers for an expedition and is granted the power of fire from the lion turtle, but he chickens out and goes back to the city. Now armed with the power of fire, one attacks the Chu family and takes a lot of their stored food for his poor brethren. Problem is, it's against the law to take the fire power into the city, so one gets banished. One pleads with the lion turtle to keep the fire in order to survive. One wanders the spirit wilds all night, barely able to survive, until he finds a spirit oasis. The ferret spirit guy who guards the oasis keeps him from entering, and, after multiple failed attempts, one finds a trapped cat deer. He frees it from the net and chases off the hunters from his former fire lion turtle city, which earns him access to the spirit oasis and the title of Stinky. This being's one's training arc. He learns proper fire bending from a dragon and sets off to find other human civilizations atop other lion turtles. While looking for them, he comes across two gigantic spirits fighting in a valley. The black and red spirit tricks one. One separates them, and that spirit flies off after menacingly introducing himself as Vardu. The remaining spirit, Raver, gets rightfully pissed at one for dooming the entire planet to 10,000 years of darkness. Nice going, one. One finds the air lion turtle city, and while talking to the humans there, the spirits coexisting with humans turn into dark spirits and attack them. Vartu shows up and taunts both one and Raver. Since one started this mess, he promises to help Raver because she is growing weaker and smaller by the second. This is where one finds out that humans aren't able to hold on to more than one of the elemental gifts of the lion turtles, but Raver can hold the others and switch them with one when she passes through him. She can't stay in his body long, however, because she'll kill him if she does. So, one and Raver train together and he masters all four elements until the destined showdown arrives between Raver and Vartu. Harmonic convergence. The planets align in some spirit world stuff happens. Varu, Raver, and one all fight during harmonic convergence. One demands that Raver stay in his body despite it killing him because he needs all 4 elements at once to stand any sort of chance against Vartu. Vartu beats him pretty badly because, well, it's pretty hard to fight a giant octopus that shoots lasers from its face when your body doesn't feel like it's on fire, let alone when it does. I'd imagine, anyway, you can go ahead and ignore those wanted posters at aquariums. They're just for fun, har har. 1 second from death. Notices that the spirit portals have bent together during harmonic convergence. So, with Raver still inside him, one touches the beam thingy, which fuses Raver and his spirit together permanently. With their combined spirits, one bends all 4 elements around Vartu and contains him inside of a tree called the Tree of Time, which sits between the north and south spirit portals in the spirit world. The Tree of Time is kinda important. Make sure you write that down. Korra wakes up, now remembering who she is and what she needs to do. She heads to the Eastern Air Temple and finds Tenzin. She makes amends to Tenzin for her firing him as her spirit teacher. Tenzin, blissfully unaware of the outside world thanks to his Air Temple vacation retreat not allowing cell phone service, has no idea what's been going on this whole time. He learns about the horrors that Korra has faced since he saw her last. Korra tells him that she needs to close the spirit portal she opened to keep Vartu from escaping and lasering everyone into 1,000 years of darkness. Unfortunately, Tenzin struggles to perform under pressure and can't get her into the spirit world. He has to set his ego aside and let his immensely more talented daughter, Jinora, do it instead. Jinora and Korra go into the spirit world and they get lost when Korra is attacked by mole spirits who flush her through the earth into some water where they both get eaten by this big gator thing, which has this rushing river, rapid intestines that branch apart and separate them. Jinora finds her bunny spirit friend who leads her to the One Shitong library. Jinora tells One Shitong that she's there to help the Avatar get to the spirit portals. Of course, One Shitong is still pretty pissed about what the Avatar did last time in his library, so he helps Unalaq capture Jinora because Unalaq brings him the good food pellets to eat or something. Oh, and he also doesn't care that Unalaq turns her spirit friend into a dark spirit in front of him, either. There's something wrong with this fucking owl, I swear. Meanwhile, back at the Marco, he tries convincing the chief of Varric's general wrongdoings, but is gently encouraged by Varric to join his security team instead. After all, there's no telling what kind of trouble a Sami and Bolin could get into. Wink, wink. Marco refuses, and Varric just straight up frames him by planting explosives in his apartment. Marco is immediately thrown in jail despite being, a cop. Bolin visits Marco in jail and Marco warns Bolin that something is probably going to happen at Bolin's movie premiere. The president is going to be there and Varric is an evil dude. Sure, Marco, whatever you say, bro. Bolin says basically. Bolin is busy getting dumped by his shallow mover co-star anyhow. After Bolin gets his ass handed to him, romance-wise, he's sulking outside of his own premiere and happens to notice a boat in the water that isn't supposed to be there. The kidnapping the president kind. Bolin leaps into action and thwarts the waterbenders from kidnapping the president. Also, by saving him, Bolin uncovers that the waterbenders were hired by Varric. So Marco and Varric switch places in jail. I'm pretty sure that Marco chose Charisma as his dump stat or something. Back to Korra in Spirit Land. Korra falls into a spooky forest and gets so scared that she becomes a small kid again. Man, I hate it when that happens. While completely terrified, she swats a bird spirit that tried making friends with her by dive-bombing her face at like 20 miles an hour. She apologizes to the spirit and is found by Uncle Iroh. Yeah, Uncle Iroh is chilling in the spirit world after his human body died. Probably mid-pie show game, I'd bet. Uncle Iroh teaches Korra that her emotions affect the spirit world and, in order to find Jinora, she should help the bird spirit she pulverized. Also, he serves Korra tea out of the teapot that once held Raver like 10,000 years ago. My teapot falls apart after like 2 years. But sure, life is so cruel sometimes. Anyway, Korra takes the bird spirit up the mountain and returns it to its nest with the help of Raver's light and peace, where it fuses with its siblings and becomes this cool giant gold dragon that flies her to the spirit portals. The spirit portal is really weird. If you watch these episodes, hi, good luck to you, is all I'm saying. So Korra shows up to shut down the south portal, but Unalaq is there with Jinra as a hostage, and will spirit bend her in an evil way unless Korra opens the north portal. She gives in to Unalaq's demands and opens the north portal. Before Unalaq can corrupt her spirit, Korra's new gold dragon friend Tail slaps Unalaq that I'm surprised he has any bones left. Korra wakes up from her spirit walk, but Jinra doesn't. Korra hurries off Republic City to try and get some soldiers to take on Unalaq because he's trying to bring on an actual apocalypse. Sure, he'll say yes to that. Wait, seriously? I says no to that. His reason is, if things get as nuts as Korra says, he'll need the army to protect Republic City. Because an army can stop a giant laser-spitting octopus. You know, I will concede that the optics are bad. But come on, man. At least pretend to be helpful. Anyway, Team Avatar is back together again, but they need a plan. They talk to Varric, who, while in prison, gives them the keys to his Varric Mobile, a battleship named Julie. Team Avatar's job is to get Korra into the spirit portal at the South Pole in order to stop Vartu from getting out by closing the portals. While she fights Vartu and Unalaq, Tenzin, Kaya, and Boom-E will slip into the spirit world and find Jinora's spirit and bring it back to her body before she, you know, dies. While en route to their suicide mission, Marco finds out that Korra misplaced some of her memories of them breaking up because she was eaten by a whale. You know, I kinda feel bad for Korra. Sometimes she blows the head off of a training dummy, which prevents Marco from correcting her on their relationship, which pisses Asami off because she and Marco are hooking up now. Okay, full disclosure, but Marco was pissing off the wrong girl in this situation. Sure, Korra can pop his head off, but Asami can completely and utterly destroy his life with the stroke of a pen. Oh, and also pop his head off. So, Team Avatar tries to think of a plan and Boom-E starts rattling off some old war story, old man rambling style, which gives Asami the idea to attack from the sky. So, there's something you should know about the Legend of Korra show. Korra as a combatant is like 2.5 times stronger than Aang is in his show. Also, she can enter and control the Avatar state at will. However, she is a teenager fighting against people in their 40s who know more about things than she ever could at, 18? Point is, they attack the base and lose the fight so badly that every single person gets captured by Unalaq's army except for Boom-E, who gets taken out by a dark spirit. Now I'm going to try and describe what happens at this part, but I don't think I can accurately capture the pure, unbridled, chaotic energy that is Boom-E. Trust me, do yourself a favor and rewatch Korra's Season 2 for just this part of the show alone. It is completely crazy. So, Boom-E is squaring up to fight this dark spirit that threw him off of Tenzin's Sky Bison. His physical attacks are useless, so he pulls out his flute and plays a song for the dark spirit. The spirit returns to normal. Boom-E is now tasked with infiltrating the base, so he hides outside of the front door and jumps the first soldier who walks out, stripes him naked, and puts on his outfit. Boom-E slips into the encampment and discovers that it is flooded with dark spirits. Thinking quickly, Boom-E pulls out his trusty flute and starts playing, thinking it will calm the spirits. It doesn't. The dark spirits get hella pissed and start chasing after him. Panicking, Boom-E jumps into the nearest Asami Corp automaton on base for protection. The dark spirits phase through it and mess up the controls on it. The automaton fires a hookshot out that gets stuck on the base's central tower, and it speeds out of control. Boom-E inside of the automaton tries to keep the dark spirits from biting his face, while it drives in a big circle around the tower it's hooked onto, trampling everyone and everything in the entire base until Boom-E finally gets the ejection seat to work. The seat slides across the ice and collides with the creepy twins just as they're about to finish off the rest of captured Team Avatar. I did not make any of that up, I swear. It really happens. Say what you will, but Boom-E is a chaos bender. Now free from capture, Team Avatar heads into the spirit portal. Marco and Bolin fight against Unalak and his twin children while Korra frantically tries to close the portals. However, despite her best effort, Korra is unable to close the portals before harmonic convergence happens, allowing Vartu to free himself from his tree prison. He and Unalak fuse together, and they beat Korra enough to allow Unalak to baff Vartu out of his face, who grabs Raver out of Korra's mouth, and he proceeds to savagely beat Raver until she is destroyed. Yeah, Vartu straight up kills Raver, and with that victory, Korra loses her connection with her past lives and is left crippled in the spirit world. Unalak becomes the Dark Avatar. His name BTW, dumb. Unalak takes the harmonic convergence like a rainbow bridge to Republic City to, throw the world into 10,000 years of darkness. Before we can move on, I have to talk about Tenzin because it's super important. Tenzin, Courier, and Boom-E head off to find Jinora. While looking for her, they find Uncle Iroh, who they all recognize from their childhood. Uncle Iroh warns Tenzin about looking into the spirit world for too long, that human spirits go somewhere they can't go. This leads Tenzin to figure out where Jinora is. Tenzin gets himself and his siblings captured by this big spider spirit, and it throws them all into a foggy valley called the Valley of Lost Souls. This valley causes the humans trapped there to be consumed by their darkest thoughts. Courier and Boom-E get consumed pretty much instantly, and Tenzin struggles to keep his mind while looking for Jinora. He laments his failure to carry on his father's legacy, and his father, Aang, appears before him and tells Tenzin that he's right. He cannot continue Aang's work because he's not Aang. Let go of your attachment of who you are and connect with your inner spirit, he tells Tenzin. Tenzin accepts that he is not his father, which allows him to airbend the fog long enough to grab Jinora, Boom-E, and Courier and lead them out of the valley. Once they regain their senses, they meet back up with Korra, and Tenzin gives Korra the advice that his father just gave him. Korra may not be able to fight against Unalak as the Avatar anymore, but she can fight him as Korra. He tells her about Vartu's prison, the Tree of Time. It is a sacred place that the ancients meditated inside of to connect with the cosmic energies of the universe. He suggests that Korra try that, and Korra, with literally nothing to lose, meditates inside of the tree. I know that a lot of people don't like the finale of this season, and to those people I say, shut up and pay attention. Korra connects with the cosmic energies of the universe using the Tree of Time and attains a spirit form that is beyond what of Vartu and Unalak's Dark Avatar form. She arrives at Republic City and fights against the Dark Avatar in a big kaiju battle. Winning this battle is not Korra's goal. Winning the battle is not Korra's goal, however, because she knows something that one taught her early on about Vartu and Raver. No matter who wins their fight, eventually one will be born of the other. So Korra attacks the Dark Avatar with the intent of pulling the light out of him. The Dark Avatar rebukes her attempt to pull Raver from him and starts corrupting her spirit with his evil spirit bending. As this is happening, Jinora appears holding onto a ball of shimmering light. She detonates it, blinding everyone in a 50-mile radius. This flash grenade pops Raver up inside of the Dark Avatar's body. Korra straight up shoves her hand inside of the Dark Avatar's stomach and rips Raver out. She then spirit bends the Dark Avatar in the same way that Unalak did to the dark spirits in the beginning, and she purifies the Dark Avatar. And by purify, I mean she kills him. Both Unalak and Vartu both die. The dialogue during this part makes it very clear. Just so there's no confusion, I will say it again. Korra kills the Dark Avatar. So Korra returns to her body to find out that the rest of Team Avatar fought against a literal army of dark spirits, keeping them from eating her body while she was away. She refuses with Raver to regain her avatarness, but she can't reconnect with her past lives. So, now that the threat of Vartu is over, Korra goes to close the portals, but she stops. She decides to leave the portals open in that moment because she thinks that the present should, while keeping in mind the lessons of the past, should forge their own path. The entire season is about this concept. Unalak takes control of the world because he doesn't think the Avatar should be the bridge between the two worlds, and almost kills everyone because he believes that humans and spirits should live together. Unalak is the danger promised by the past. Korra is entombed by the past because she is desperately trying to be the Avatar the best she can throughout the season. She can only succeed against Unalaq and Spirit Bentham when she does it as Korra. Tenzin struggles to be Korra's spirit mentor and only truly comes through for her when he lets go of his desire to be his father. Boom E is perfect the way he is. Never change, you little chaos gremlin. I'll leave the question to you. Was this smart of Korra to do? Maybe not, but her world would have to face the consequences of her decision whether she leaves them open or closes them. Personally, I think it was a great idea, story-wise, because now every Avatar story after Korra can take place inside of the spirit world more easily. Korra got eaten by a big gator thing and fell into a forest. Seriously, how cool is that? Plus, there was that whole thing where airbenders manifested as a result of her leaving the portals open, which is pretty cool, too. But yeah, let me know if you agree with Korra doing this objectively stupid thing that causes, like, a whole bunch of problems. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, consider subscribing to my channel and the notification thingy and such so you'll know when I make more Rider-like stuff kinda like this. Plus, if this video does well, I have a perfect excuse to make more Avatar stuff. This was pretty fun for me to research. Okay, see ya.